What's up, scholars? Welcome back to another video. Happy New Year. We are starting 2024, and today I'm going to be taking a minute to talk about all of my 2023 reads, watches, from anime, manga to books, and then talk about what is on my reading list for 2024, both anime, manga, and books. It's a lot. I have a lot I want to get done this year. I have a lot I want to talk about this year. Of course, with One Piece being at the center of it, because that's literally all I talk about nowadays, but it's fine. But right now, I'm just going to take a minute to talk about everything that I read or watched in 2023 and kind of give my overviews on it, what I thought about it, and then we're going to move forward to see what I'm going to be reading in the future. Starting out, we're already going to just get it out of the way. One Piece was my biggest read of 2023, and I went back and looked. I was starting Long Ring Longland in 2023. In January of last year, I was in Long Ring Longland, finishing it up and getting into Water 7. I went from that, and now I've finished Wano, which is just insane to me. I read so much of One Piece's story, and it is incredible. It has been a wild ride. One Piece is officially one of my top 3 favorite mangas of all time. It's in the top 3. It's probably getting close to that #1 spot. It actually kind of is in the #1 spot. Who am I kidding? It's #1. But I love One Piece. The story, the adventure, the characters, the setting, how deep it goes, because it's not just a silly, goofy pirate story. It's so much more than that. There's so much nuance to characters, to plot development, to foreshadowing, and the story structures itself. It is such a fantastic story, a fantastic read, that I've loved every bit of it. Even parts I wasn't a fan of or parts I didn't like as much as others, I still enjoyed myself with One Piece. It's always been just so much fun. And I absolutely am 100% immersed in this story and am going to be continuing reading it in 2024. I love this story. This story means so much to me, more than I ever thought it would. I could go on and on about One Piece, but that's for a later day. But One Piece, yes, I read probably almost 1,000 chapters of One Piece. I know it's not that much, I'm being a little dramatic, but you get my gist. I read a lot, and we're still going through One Piece. It's fantastic. That was like my #1 read of 2023, and if I had to rate it from 1 to 5, it's a 5. It's 5 stars. I love One Piece so much. The next story that I read, did I grab it? No, I don't think I grabbed it. I think it's still on my bookshelf. It's fine. The next story that I read, and is still continuing, it's an ongoing series, but another story that I read that I just completely love and adore is Bungo Stray Dogs. Bungo Stray Dogs is a fantastic story with very interesting, very intricate characters that I want to have more attention put on Bungo Stray Dogs. There's just so much there for it. I love the storyline. Even though people say the storyline is convoluted, it's really difficult to figure out and ascertain what's actually going on. Looking at it subjectively from like an outward stance, when you take yourself out of what the characters are going through at the moment, you can see the plot, you can see where the plot is going, why it started, why it's developed the way it's developed, and where it's going. And it's just, Bungo Stray Dogs does such a good job with characters and making yourself immersed into the characters more so than the plot, that the plot kind of slips under the radar and moves very not sneaky, like, I don't know what word I was going to use. I had a really nice word in my head that I was going to use for it, and I completely lost it. But it moves very, like, sneaky, like, under the radar, away from the main focus of the story, because you're so focused on these characters, what they're going through, why they're going up against these villains, what their past is, their traumas, the way they're interacting and growing and you're so caught up in the actual characters or the fights that are going on or the mind games that are going on between certain characters that you forget about the plot. But then the plot pops up and you're just like, where did you come from? I love it. I love stories like this because the plot is subtle. That's the word. I don't know if that's the exact word, but that fits now. The plot is very subtle because Bungo focuses on character work. And I love it. I love Bungo Stray Dogs. It's been such a delight and very painful. I mean, One Piece has been painful for me to read. I've cried so much in One Piece. But Bungo Stray Dogs has made me cry a fair amount. I love it. It's painful and depressing at times, but I love it. It's such a good story. One of my favorite stories of all time. Bungo Stray Dogs is in my top, if it's not in top 5, top 3 mangas of all time. I love the story, and of course I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I love it so much. So 2 manga series that I finished this year. I finished up Tokyo Revengers and Demon Slayer. I binged Demon Slayer. Wow. I finished it in one night. I was exhausted the next day, but I finished it in one night. Tokyo Revengers, I know there's a lot of controversy about the last arc and how it ends, but I personally feel like the ending is okay because of what the main character and his goal is. I don't want to say too much because spoilers, I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but I'm okay with the ending. Do I think it could have been adjusted a little bit? Yes, but honestly, I'm okay with it. I personally really like Takemichi as a main character because he's a run-of-the-mill guy who does not give off main character vibes but ends up being a main character through something he had no control over, and you get to see him try to do all of these things, and I love and hate it because people are always asking, they're like, oh, well, give us just a normal person, give us just this normal guy as a main character, we want some of that. And then you get one like Takemichi and it's like everybody just riots over it. I don't understand it. No, Takemichi is not a perfect character. He's a very flawed character, but he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a very flawed character. I'm okay with the anime adaptation. I've seen the anime adaptation through season 3, and I think they've done a good job. I prefer the manga over the anime because of pacing, because it actually feels like things are moving a lot quicker than they appear in the anime at times. So the pacing is fixed a lot for me, in my personal opinion, in the manga, and I really like the characters in Tokyo Revengers. That's what sells it for me. The plot is pretty good. The villains are okay. But the characters, man, the characters get me every single time, and I love these characters, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm okay with the ending of Tokyo Revengers. Is it like my favorite, oh my goodness, ending of all time? No, but is it a good ending? Yeah. I personally was satisfied with the ending, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to spoil anything. But if y'all want to hear me talk about Tokyo Revengers, I will be glad to do so. I finished Tokyo Revengers. If I would rate it, I would say 4 out of 5 stars. It's probably in my top 10 manga at this point. I really like the story. I really like the characters. The other manga I finished was Demon Slayer. I read all the way through it. Oh my gosh. I can't wait for the last 2 arcs, or the last 3 arcs technically, to be animated. It's gonna be so good. I really love Demon Slayer. Again, Demon Slayer is it's like in my top 10 manga. It's really good in my opinion. I really like it because of the themes. The themes in Demon Slayer shine so brightly in the manga, and I love it. You obviously have the found family themes. Like, those themes show up in most everything I read. You have the themes of never giving up, and you have a theme of things being passed on in succession, how people's dreams being passed from one another from generation to generation to finally come to fruition, to finally come true, to accomplish this one common goal that has been passed down from generation to generation, from person to person. And I really like that kind of threaded bond that you have. I like the connections that Demon Slayer offers. I like I don't want to get, again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. I did do a spoiler-free review on Demon Slayer's The Themes in a video last year. If you want to go watch that, you can go do that. But I love the themes in Demon Slayer, and that's what makes it really, like, really gripping to me, along with the characters. While the characters are compelling in a different way than characters in One Piece, Bungo Stray Dogs, or Tokyo Revengers are, the characters are compelling to me in a different way because of what these characters kind of represent and what their individual aspects and goals and representations, how those representations shine through certain moments in the manga, and how it's like, oh, that's what it's for. That's what this, that's what this character trait is for. That's what their personality was about. That's why this moment hits so hard. That's why this person is the way they are. And the author does such a great job of using their characters in correlation to their themes to make it both shine at the right moments. I really enjoy Demon Slayer. It's a wonderful manga. Again, I'd say I'd give it about 4.5 out of 5 stars, in my opinion. So another manga I have read and have caught up to is Skippy. I love Skippy. It's one of my favorite mangas. I keep saying that. I read my favorite mangas. There's nothing wrong with that. Skippy is a story that I have been following since I was like a teenager. And I love the story. I love Skippy, and I love Kyoko as a main character. Her determination about finding herself and overcoming a lot of mental blocks and a lot of personal issues that she has with herself that she knows holds her back, and having her go on this journey to grow and get better as a person. Yes, there's romance involved, but what I love about Skippy is that though there's romance, it often doesn't take the center focus, because you have Kyoko, who is absolutely against romance to begin with. She hates the idea of love. And you see her go on this journey to find out, like, no, love isn't a bad thing, and I can use it to help me, because she's an actress, she wants to act, and you can see her go on this journey to find a way to use that weakness of hating love and being afraid of it, and using it to make her better as a person and better as an actress. And then on the flip side, you have the love interest, Rin, and he's also has his own issues with love and how he struggles with it as well, and struggles with expressing himself, and he has his own personal issues that he has to work out before he can even approach a relationship. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I love Skippy. I love Kyoko. Has to be one of my favorite main characters because she's so hilarious, she's so relatable, and I love all of her facial expressions. She's so funny, unintentionally funny. She's got a couple quirks, but they work in her favor, and it's just, I love Kyoko so much. Skip beats a 5 out of 5 for me. Yes, it's a shoujo, but golly, it's a good one. And I love how as you get further into the series, you see the mangaka's artwork. You see how her artwork grows and adapts and gets better along the way. And I always love seeing that in a manga. You see it in One Piece, you see it in Bungo Stray Dogs, you see it in Tokyo Revengers and Demon Slayer, and then you see it in Skippy. And I just love seeing that development, that growth in the artwork. Skippy, 5 out of 5. I'll still be reading it in 2024 because it's ongoing, but I did catch up to it and I am current with it. So another manga that I actually recently picked up is called Like a Butterfly. It is a shoujo, and it follows a girl who is known to be very shy and very introverted. She doesn't talk. She's not a talker. She doesn't talk to anybody. She just kind of communicates with her nods and everything, kind of like the show Komi Can't Communicate. But the thing with her name is, I hope I say this right, Suiren, Suiren. Suiren. She does speak to her friend at times, but it's very soft and she doesn't speak very much. She just doesn't like the attention, but everybody gives it to her because she's a beautiful woman. So they, of course, they give her attention even though she doesn't want it at all. She ends up liking this guy Kawasumi, and it kind of follows their relationship of how he kind of understands to a certain degree like what her facial expressions, what her gestures kind of mean, and he's a little similar to her, but definitely more vocal than she is. But he's very shy around girls. He doesn't interact with girls very well. So it kind of follows their story of how they end up interacting. And it's really funny at certain points, and it's really adorable and sweet at others. I am only 2 volumes in. These were the only 2 volumes available whenever I was looking. I think it's a newer series. When I bought these at Barnes and Noble, and they were the only 2 volumes available. I think volume 3 is out, and I think you can pre-order volume 4. But this is a new series that I'm going to be following in 2024 because I gave it 2 volumes to see if it would be something I like. I like romance stories. I like this. I don't have too much of a grasp on how the story is going to go because it is just starting. But the artwork, I don't know if y'all can see this, but the artwork is really pretty. It's very detailed, and the characters are likable. I like these characters, which is such a big thing for me, to like characters and latch onto characters really quickly. I like the characters. I kind of like where the story is developing, so I want to see where it goes. So since I don't know too much about it, I'd give it about 3.5 to 4 stars. Just because I don't know too much about it, but the first 2 volumes really hooked me, so it's good. I'm gonna keep reading it. I also finished Attack on Titan this year. I've watched it. I've never read the manga, I've only watched the anime. Finished Attack on Titan. I've cried many times over that show. I liked the ending. Levi makes me cry, as always. He is my favorite character in Attack on Titan. Levi is my boy. That's my man. I love him so much. He has suffered enough. I really liked Attack on Titan's conclusion. I like how they did it. It is now completed, and I was satisfied with the ending. I really like the story, the idea of freedom, and the idea of things repeating themselves. Even after all is said and done, a cycle will still be a cycle and repeat itself, even as much as you've given up, even as much as you want to stop it. I really like that idea. Attack on Titan, I'll say 4.5 stars for me. It was an amazing series. I love it so much. And then some animes that I've watched this year, just kind of listing them off. Oshinoko was brilliant. I love the theme song, or the opening song to it. I've listened to it so many times. Love Oshinoko. I loved the first season and thought it was great. I'm really excited for season 2. I also watched what it was, Level 999 with Yamada-kun. My love story with Yamada-kun. I love it. Again, I'm a romance girly at heart. I love my romance stories. I loved that one. I loved Yamada-kun so much. Him and Akane are perfect together. I love the story, love the development. I really hope there's a season 2. If not, I'm gonna have to go to the manga. I also watched an anime. I doubt it's gonna get a season 2, but I sure liked it. It was more of like I guess obscure because I don't really see people talk about it much, but it's called The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today. It is such a heartwarming, cozy show to watch. It's about a giant cat who takes care of its human. And it's fantastic. I love it so much. I love Yukiji so much. He is a great cat. I wish I had a cat like him. It would make my life so much easier. I love the show. It was funny, it was charming, it was cozy. It was something I could just sit back and relax and watch when I've had a rough day. It's just a comfort show to me. It really, really became a comfort show to me. And I enjoyed it so much. Sugar Apple Fairy Tale is another one that I watched, and it surprised me of how much I liked it because on the premise it seemed really good, and I was a little nervous to see where it went because of how the story was going to be developed and how it was going to work out. I'm a fan. I was a fan of it. I thought it did really, really good. And then I also watched Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. It was recommended to me when I was doing my October reads, and I loved it. I loved it. It's such a good show. I want to read the manga. I wish there was more seasons of it. It's so fun. It is so charming. I enjoyed it a lot. The anime that took me by surprise, that has like taken a hold on me and a shot to like my favorite anime of the year, The Apothecary Diaries. When I tell you I am going to be running to the manga as soon as the second core of season 1 is over, I want to read more of this story. I love Jinshi. I love Mao Mao. It's so great. The whole premise of her being an apothecary, she knows everything about medicines. She loves her poison, and her being in the rear palace and the dynamics that go there and how she is managing to live in that time, in that place, and Jinshi being a eunuch, and how their relationship kind of develops from him just toying with her to them actually kind of being subpar friends, and then going from there. It's really, really cool. I love this series so much. If y'all haven't seen Apothecary Diaries, please go watch it. Please watch Apothecary Diaries. It is absolutely worth it. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. You will not regret watching it at all. 100% you will love it. I love it. It is fantastic. I'm gonna end up reading the manga and probably the light novels from the beginning anyways, and it's one I could do review series on or something. I would love to talk about Apothecary Diaries. It is amazing. I highly recommend it. It is 5 out of 5 stars. Easily 5 out of 5. I love it so much. Now, before I talk about the books I've read this year, I'm going to mention some of the manhwas I've read, because I've read a few manhwas this year, and I've been reading some on the side, just whether it's at lunch, when I'm at lunch at work, or when I just want a fun story to read. I'll pick up a manhwa on a webtoon or something like that, and I will read it. And one that I read this year that I just absolutely loved was The Remarried Empress. It was such a great story. The whole idea that the community has got behind the whole nickname Trashta just makes me laugh. I love the main character. I love the actual main love interest. And I love the characters. I love the main character, and I love the main male lead. The real main male lead, not the other one. For those who have read the story, because I'm trying not to spoil anything, for those who have read the story, you know who I'm talking about. The bird is the real one. I'm just saying, the bird's the real thing. And I love the story. It's fun. It can make you upset. It can make you upset. It can make you laugh. It can make you almost cry. And it's got such beautiful artwork. The characters are compelling. You can get wrapped up into the story so easily. I binged this series at one point because it got to a point I was like, okay, I can't just read a few chapters a day. I just gotta read. And so I did. It's amazing. I really love it. I know there's light novels. I don't know where to find the actual light novels, but I'm going to eventually. I want to read it all. The Remarried Empress was fantastic. Another one that I've been reading, it's an ongoing series. It's called The Guy Upstairs. It is a kind of thriller series about this woman who finds a serial killer, or suspects to have found a serial killer, but he gaslights her into thinking she's crazy and that she really didn't see him kill anybody. And it's her basically having to pretend that she believes him while trying to investigate him, and he ends up getting close to one of her friends, which worries her but also angers her. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting story. I'm really enjoying it. I really like the characters. Even the main villain, the serial killer guy, he's great. He's great. I'm scared to death of him, but he's great. I love it. I would highly recommend that one. There's a couple others that I've been reading, but not as consistently. But those are like the main two that have stuck with me over the last year. So that's all. I think from what I remember, I could have watched something else that I just don't remember. It's very possible. I don't have the best memory at times. Those are the manga and anime that I've watched this year. So now the books that I've read this year is a little less impressive. It's been a heavy anime and manga year for me, but I have read a couple of books. I don't know where I put it over there. I can't find it. It's there somewhere. I read The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. That was just a really cute, very charming story with some really good lessons in it. I enjoyed it. It's a very simple read. You can read it in like 30 minutes or less. I mean, I think I read it in 10 minutes. I mean, it's a very quick read. It's a very easy read. The artwork is really pretty, and the story between the animals and the boy is just very heartwarming and heartfelt. I love it. I just love the story. It's a very nice, very soft and charming story. So if you have 10 minutes to spare, pick up that book and read it. It's definitely worth it. I also read Strawberry Shortcake Murder. I talked about this in a review that I posted. This is a murder mystery that's following a baker who is trying to discover who murdered one of their friends. And because she is a baker, this book is filled with recipes. Like, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. There's like 6 recipes in there, all of which are delicious, by the way, just saying. It's a nice, cozy murder mystery. It's not scary by any means. It's just like a nice, cozy murder mystery book that you get to read along. It's a whodunit. Very fun to read, and you get recipes out of it, so it's a win-win, honestly. I'd say I'd rank this book, because I just had a fun time with it. I'd say it's a 5 out of 5, just because it was a fun book to read. It was just fun, and I love books like that. Another one that I read because it was recommended to me several times by several different people was From Blood and Ash. I had mixed feelings about this one. My initial rating of this book was like 4 stars, but the more I think about it, the more there are things about this book that bothers me. So I think I'd give it about 3.5 stars, just because there are things in this book that either don't quite make sense to like the character moments at the time, or it's just so focused on something else other than the story that I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we here? But I mean, it's a good premise. Wasn't expecting it to be about what it was about. The main character is likable, more likable than other main characters in books like these. The main character is more likable than I originally thought she would be, which was a huge relief to me. The main love interest was likable. I kind of caught along to the big reveal, the main plot of it really early on, which is okay because I think the author intends that. So it's not oh my goodness, this is the reveal. It's like, oh, that was the reveal. I was right. It was still a good read. I read it really quickly, but it was good. It was a good read. I don't know if I'll continue with the series. Haven't bought anything else, but it was good. It just wasn't my favorite. But other people I know have just absolutely love and adore that book, so good on them. That's just my opinion. This one I'm still reading currently. It's called Murder Your Employer. Not the best book to take to work to read, just saying. It's really fun though. It's really hilarious. The irony, just the irony and dark humor that starts this book out instantly hooked me. And I just, when I went to Barnes & Noble and I was searching for a book, the cover obviously caught my eye. So I went over and I looked at it. I opened it to the very first page. I read the first sentence and I started laughing. And I was like, oh, I'm buying this book. And so far, it's been really fun. I really want to finish reading it this year, which I'm going to. But this one is one I started last year, and I will be finishing it soon-ish. That's really all the books I read. Like I said, this was a very light book reading year for me. But this next year, now we're kind of shifting gears. For 2024, what I want to read, there's a lot I want to read. So for my 2024 reading list, what I want to read, obviously One Piece is like first and foremost. I'm going to be continuing to read all of the series that are ongoing. So One Piece, Skip Beat, Like a Butterfly, Bungo Stray Dogs. So most of those that I read last year and I really enjoyed and are ongoing, I'm still going to be reading in 2024. That's not going to change. What I want to do in 2024 is pick up a few more light novels and maybe a few more manhwas, if possible. So 86, I have the first 2 volumes of the 86 light novel. I've seen the anime. Oh my gosh, the anime is amazing. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go watch it. It is amazing. Pick up this series. Not enough people talk about the series. I want to talk about it more. I'm going to be reading 86. I'm going to try to catch up to where it is. I think it's still ongoing, but I want to catch up on 86. That's one of my big plans for this year, reading wise, is I want to devote more time to 86 because it is honestly a fantastic series. What I've seen and read of it so far, I absolutely love. Another one that I'm maybe gonna pick up, I haven't quite decided. I might end up asking you guys if y'all want that or not. I've heard a lot about Solo Leveling. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot of good things. And I know there's an anime coming out in January in just a couple days. The first episode's supposed to drop. But I want to perhaps maybe read that one first. Read the manhwa first. And see where it goes. I'm not sure, but Solo Leveling has been on my radar for a while, and I think I want to pick it up this year. Another manga series that I am going to be reading this year, because I read like the first chapters to and was hooked, and I really liked the idea, the premise of it, is called Gokura Kugai. It's this right up here. Gokura Kugai. It is a really cool story. You have monsters, you have this supernatural element, you have really cool people who are an organization who fight against these monsters, and there's a twist that I'm not going to mention because I don't want to spoil anything. There's a twist in the first chapter and you're like, oh, that's cool. I'm really looking forward to this series. I think it's relatively new. I think it's a new series. I don't know how many chapters. I think there's only like 6 or 7 chapters out of it on Shonen Jump right now. I want to read this series, and if y'all want to read it with me, we can totally do that. I want to pick this series up. It looks really, really cool. I love the artwork. The artwork is so good. I want to read this one this year. Besides that, I have a lot of books I want to read this year because a lot of these books I have been hoarding for a while and just putting off reading them, and it's about time I actually read them. So that's what I'm doing this year. Poppy War, I have books 1 and 2 of it that were both given to me. I've heard just such great things about it. I want to read the Poppy War. So that's one of the first ones on my list to read, is this book and this trilogy. The next one by the same author is Babel. I've started this book. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. I want to finish Babel. As much as I love language and things like that, I know I've enjoyed Babel so far. I want to finish it this year. I need to because my siblings have, and they've been dying to talk about it, and I just haven't been able to join the conversation because I've been lazy and not read this book. So that's what I want to do this year. Another one that's been on my shelf since for too long is The Hangman. It is a book about a serial killer, fictional, obviously. I've heard good things about it, and the initial premise is what inspired me to get it off the shelf and buy it. So I want to read this one, and that might be more towards later in the year, but this one is definitely going to get read this year. Another one that will be read this year that again has been on my shelf for far too long is The Ruin of Kings by Jim Lyons. The initial premise of this instantly hooked me because I don't see a lot of books like this where the main character is practically the villain. So I'm definitely intrigued with this book and want to see where this goes. So again, this is one I want to read. Another one I want to read is The Rage of Dragons. I've heard so much about it. I've heard people say how great it was. I've had family members tell me how great it was. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. Rage of Dragons has also been on my reading list for a very, very long time. And another series that I've had for about a year now that I just haven't read but I've wanted to is this one. I've heard mixed reviews. Some have said, oh, don't read it. Others have said, yeah, read it. It's really good. So I have at least the first two in the trilogy, so I'm gonna read them and see what I think. I love dragons, so obviously. So I don't know much about the book because I haven't read it yet, but this is what I'm gonna be reading this year. And of course, this is gonna really be sad and pathetic because this was on my to be read list last year. Way of Kings. I had every intention of reading this last year and finishing it last year, but things got in the way and One Piece kind of took over my entire life. And I was too busy to do anything else other than that. So, I will finish this book this year. Brandon Sanderson, I am so sorry for putting you on hold for over a year and a half now. This book will be read. I am going to force myself to do it because I won't let myself procrastinate or get distracted again with this book, because I've had family members again tell me how great this is. I've had a lot of friends tell me how great these books are. So I'm going to read this and eventually I will get into the rest of Brandon Sanderson's work. But we're starting here. Another book I'm going to read is a nonfiction. It's called The Twin Thieves. I was given this book by my dad, and I'm definitely going to read it. It looks like it'll be a nice, easy read. It's kind of an instructional learning guide, and I enjoy books like this at times. So the last book he gave me on content like this, I absolutely loved. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. This will probably be one of the first ones I read this year. So those are some of the things that I'm wanting to read for this year. I haven't quite decided how to split them up and like what quarters I'm going to be reading them or anything like that, but those are some of the books and manga on my list that I want to be watching. There's a lot of animes that are coming up that I've seen that I'm interested in. Can't think of the names off the top of my head, but I will be watching a lot of seasonal anime. And of course I will be watching Apothecary Diaries. But if y'all have suggestions, manga, anime, or books that y'all would like me to read, if you have manhwas that you would like me to read, let me know down below. It could be even light novels too. I'm open to any format of this. Let me know some of your suggestions down below of what y'all would like to see, or just a series that you enjoyed that you would like to share with others. Leave your suggestions down below. That pretty much wraps up this video. I had a lot of anime and manga that just took over my life last year, mostly One Piece, but there was others too. I had a lot of anime and manga last year that I consumed, and I want to consume just about as much as I did last year, but kind of balance it out a little bit with more books because I do love books. I am a reader, and I've had all of these books on my bookshelves for so long. They need to be read because I have more books that I want to buy, so I need to read these and kind of clean up my reading list a little bit before I add more to it, because it's extensive. That is all for this video. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of the stories that I've mentioned today. Let me know what you liked about them, didn't like. Let me know your thoughts on this. I'm really excited for 2024. I think it's going to be a great year. I've got a lot to read, I've got a lot to watch, and I am very excited to do all of it. So be on the lookout for my next video. I'm going to be doing an in-depth discussion of Sanji versus Queen from Wano. So if you want to have more details on that fight, make sure you go check it out. It's going to be coming out next Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that. If you haven't seen my schedule for what's coming out the month of January, go to the community tab. I have it all posted there. I will be having an announcement on the community tab coming either tomorrow or sometime early next week about just some things that are going to be happening with the channel that I'm really excited about, so be on the lookout for that announcement as well. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time, scholars.